Okay, looks like it's going to be a decent day. Got some good wind, and well, looks like about 10, right about 10. I don't see any white caps, but we'll find out when we get there. I don't like the wind direction right now. Wind, I don't know if you can see it, the Windex says the wind is coming from directly this way, which means when I come into dock, the wind is going to be pushing me away. As you can see, the boat is a good distance away from the dock here. So what this means is docking will be a significant challenge, unless the wind changes direction or loses some intensity. The trouble with it is I got this tree here, and I've got this wire called the forestay, and I can run into the tree or I can hit the bank if I don't get the boat stopped. And I have to stop the boat by using this this line here. Is called a midship line. Goes to the midship cleat, and then here's my my forward midship, which kind of keeps the boat in position front to rear. And then of course I've got dock lines in the back and dock lines in the front that hold the boat a distance from the dock. So I don't like it when it's blowing this direction. It makes it more challenging to get on the boat, makes it more challenging to dock the boat. Looks like we got plenty of solar coming in today. So all right. Okay. First things first, shoes come off. And then got some wind down here. It's blown some of the lines that I normally store on top of the cabin. It's blown them off to the side here. The boat's a mess right now because I've been sailing it. I haven't been living on it much. Normally in the summertime I spend a lot more time in the boat, out at anchor and things like that. So since I've not been spending any time really in the boat, it's just been finish up whatever I'm doing, whether it's fishing off of the dock or sailing for the day. And then I just, as you can see, I just throw everything in here and it lays where it lays. And maybe once I get the season well underway and I'm spending more time on the boat, I may clean things up. So crib boards are stored. So since it's pretty windy today, I got a couple of options. This is my brand new 110% jib sail. So I can run 110% jib by itself, which would probably be sufficient, but we've got brisk winds, so we want to have a brisk day at sail. So I'll probably raise the main as well. And with the main and the jib up full, I'll be heeling over to probably 30 to 40 degrees. So it's definitely going to be an exciting day. Good day to not have somebody, not having an inexperienced passenger on the boat. So if I had Russell with me or another person who's experienced sailing a bit, it would be a different story. They would enjoy it as well, but folks who aren't used to sailing don't generally appreciate the boat feeling like it's going to flip over. So I didn't appreciate it at first. I got scared my first time out with Russell. He had me thinking he was going to sink the boat. So I'm attaching the sail to the forestay. So this front corner is called the tack, and then these little brass clips here are called hanks. So this is called a hank on sail. We're hanking the sail onto the forestay, and they always go on from the left to the right, from the port to the starboard. I may be getting ahead of myself here. This may be premature. I get out on the water and I find out it's too windy, and I'll have to pull this down and maybe put up a storm sail. It's supposed to peak at 14 miles per hour, which is borderline storm sail territory, but I'll keep a close eye on things, and if I get uncomfortable, I'll make a decision to reduce sail. Okay, so This is the head of the sail, and this is the halyard right here. This is what pulls the sail up on the forestay into position. So that locks in so it doesn't come loose. Finish unbagging the sail. Caught up on some stuff here. And then this end here is called the clew. And this one, we just tie a simple sheet bend, pull through, a double sheet bend actually, I go around twice. If I went through here, that'd be a sheet bend. I go around a second time for the double sheet bend, just for a little added security. Reason I do it with a piece of rope, a small little tail here, instead of putting a shackle, is every big chunk of metal you add to this, if I have to go up on the deck to pull this sail down because things are getting too brisk and it's flogging around and it's too windy, that shackle becomes a missile. It becomes a projectile, and had lots of folks advise me not to allow anything really heavy and hard in this area because it could literally knock you right out, lose consciousness. So as you can see, my sail's wanting to walk off the end of the front of the boat here, the side of the boat. And that's what I did not want to happen. So hopefully we can get out of here before that becomes a problem. Again, man, this is really borderline. This is a pretty stiff wind, and there are potential thunderstorms today in the area, so we'll just have to see how it goes. I'm gonna mount the camera to the stern rail there. There's a small mount for the camera there, and I'll get it set up here once I get out on the water. In the meantime, I'm just going through the process of setting things up. So we're gonna run a mainsail today. So I'm gonna open things up, take my sail cover off. Basically, this cover just is a sacrificial protective cover for the mainsail. The cover costs about, I don't know, 200 bucks. Mainsail's about 1,200 bucks. So when we leave something to stay out in the weather and the UV and all that, we'd rather have a cheaper sacrificial piece of material here instead of an expensive sail getting beat up 365 days a year, because this boat stays outside on the slip most of the year. I took it off the slip once, but it was still sitting out on the trailer fully rigged, so I haven't had the mast down in nearly a year on this boat. So, and this boat next to us, that's Checkmate. That's my old boat. That's a 22-footer. I upgraded to the 25-footer. This is a Catalina 25, that's Catalina 22. When I did the upgrade, my partner Russell, who taught me how to sail, he and I had purchased that boat together. Then I bought it out from him at the end of the first season. Then when I upgraded into this boat, he opted to purchase this one back from me. So we're neighbors, and we sail together frequently. So anyway, let's get the motor fired up. Well, actually I gotta get my tiller set up first. Oh, and go in and switch some power on so I can put some tunes on. Here's my 12-volt power.
It doesn't pay to advertise anywhere else.
Currently we got radio going. I can control everything from right here on my phone. So if I go into my boat apps, I can check my power, my solar power. Connects via Bluetooth to my solar controller, and currently I'm pulling 0 watts in because we're at max battery power. We're probably at 14.2 volts. Yeah, if you look here, I don't know if you can see, it says I'm at 14.2 volts. So for the last several days, I used a bit of power here. It spent the next day charging and float charging, and then went back down to just maintenance charge, and today we pulled no power in. So I'm 100% on my batteries, which is good. And then also in my boat apps is my Fusion Link. That's my stereo system on the boat. And there we have it. It is pulling it up now, and I can go in, if I can remember how to do it here. There we go. So I can do AM, FM, auxiliary, or Bluetooth. I prefer Bluetooth. And then I have my own Bluetooth music feeding into the boat. So there we go. Tunes are playing. And I've also got a, what do you call it? I'm gonna turn that down a bit. I've also got a USB charging, so I can pull my USB charger out here so that my phone doesn't die while I'm on the water. So we just plug that in, keep our USB up and running. We like to see how fast we're going. So I've got a little chart plotter here, which is it's an instrument that tells you not only depth and speed, but it also has GPS positioning, and it will show you charts of the lakes and things that you go on with the depth and all that. So basically, I just drop that into where the crib board goes. The only problem with it is then I have to step over it when I get in and out of the boat, but I don't get in and out too often when I'm out sailing. So I'm gonna drop the motor into the water here. Attach my fuel line. Make sure that's all good. Make sure the carburetor has got fuel to it. Okay, and then push this out of my way. Okay. Now the way I leave the dock by myself, my motor's out of adjustment now, so it has to be in gear to start it. Usually it's the opposite. It's got a safety switch that keeps it from starting in gear. In the case of this motor, it's opposite of that. So one pull, half choke, and there she goes. So while that's idling, we'll go ahead and pull that out of gear, let that idle for a couple of moments. What I'm gonna do next is start to untie. If I untie the dock lines, I have to keep my spring line, my midship spring line, aft spring line attached, put the boat back in gear, and turn the boat, the rear of the motor. So if you can see, the boat's starting to shift its direction. It's kind of pushing it into the dock this way. It'll hold me there until I get that aft dock line removed, and then I'm going to start floating out. So I have to act quick to get the boat turned around and faced into the wind and then head out to the lake. So hopefully I do this without falling in the water. I've got my throat cushion, but I didn't grab my life jacket, so I'm going to grab that now before I forget. And I prefer to use auto inflators because they are pretty low profile. They make me feel like I'm not wearing a life vest, and life vests being uncomfortable things that they can be, I prefer to have one that's not too cumbersome. Okay, I don't like the boy, this thing is really getting blown away from the dock quick. Let me see here. All right, we'll be okay. I just got to really be fast in getting the boat out onto the lake. Once I back it into here, I'm going to have to really give it some throttle to get it up out of here. This is the sketchy part when it's windy like this. So one day I'm going to be too old to make that jump. Okay. So my forward dock line comes off first because, as you can see, the motor is still kind of keeping the front end of the boat pushed towards the dock. It's doing a pretty decent job of that right now. Oop. If it stops doing a good job, you'll see me get really excited. Okay, Then I undo the forward spring line, and the forward spring line stays on the dock. Then I'm going to try and pull my aft dock line off without losing control of the boat, and jump on the boat quickly once this goes. Yep, she's wanting to blow away from the dock here. And we're on. Okay, we're doing okay. Got it in reverse, backing away. Now I'm gonna back the boat this way, and hopefully get it to come around. Now, switch into forward gear. Okay, we made it. Forgot to turn the choke off, and that ended up, the motor wanted to drown out on me there. That was a little nerve-wracking. I heard it start to sputter a little bit, and it sounded like it was losing power. Noticed the choke was in, so I fixed that quick, and we're headed out to the lake. Once we get out there, I'll drop the keel. And then once the keel's down, we'll raise sails. Doing about 3.5 knots into the wind. So I've got the motor, I got to run up a little bit, probably about 30%. It's a 7.5 horse motor, so it's not terribly powerful, but it can push the boat around in this kind of wind. We don't have any current or tides to worry about, so that's not an issue. Good day for a sail. It's warm today, nice and warm in the sun. We're currently in 5.5 feet of water, 6 feet of water. This is why I have to keep the keel up. The keel drafts 5 feet, and there's spots through here where it's shallow enough that I can't make it through with the keel down. The old boat, Checkmate, just a tiny bit shallower draft, and that one has made it through with the keel down. I haven't been able to do it in this boat. So currently in 9.5 feet of water. Since the wind is pushing us almost directly back into shore, I'm gonna have to motor out a good little ways. This way, if anything goes wrong, I have time to recover from it before the wind pushes us into the beach. The boat is a beachable boat since it's a swing keel. But if I beach this boat, it's gonna be a lot of trouble getting it off the beach in this kind of weather, so I don't want to accidentally beach the boat. Hopefully the GoPro is still going. I haven't really gotten used to these GoPros yet and how long they last for. These batteries seem to only go for about 20 or 25 minutes and then they shut off, and I don't know if I get much warning or if they just quit recording and shut down, and then I have to check on them. So what I'll probably do after I crank the keel down, switch batteries, put the GoPro over here on the GoPro mount so you can see forward, watch the direction of sail. And then once all that's done, then I'll just let it run until the battery dies. Maybe run the 2 videos together, edit them together, and it'll be one long and boring video showing a solo sail on quite a brisk day. Got some storms out that way. I can see it's getting pretty dark out there, but the wind generally carries the storms in that direction. They usually build out here and go over us. So I'm going to be watching more in that direction where, you know, out here it's getting a little dark, but doesn't look too threatening yet. Storms aren't supposed to actually hit until 10 tonight, so I've got about 5 hours. It is currently 2 minutes till 5. So yeah, this is my instrumentation. There's the time, sunrise and sunset, water temperature. That's at the hull on the inside of the boat. So that's the hull temperature at the front of the hull. This is water depth, speed in knots. There's our GPS positioning, date and time, current time. So, oh, and battery voltage is 13.1 right now, so we're good on battery voltage. All right. And with that breeze, it's actually feeling a little cooler than it was just when I was back there 300 yards. So you can see it's a little more powerful out here. I think I might see a lone white cap or 2, so that tells me we're approaching 12-mile-per-hour winds, which is going to be a fun sail. I might reef the main before I put it up just to keep things under control. If I put full main up and full 110 jib, it can get pretty hard to manage. And where I'm solo and I'm not the most experienced sailor on the planet, I've only got about 3 seasons under my belt. I don't want to get into any trouble out here. It's happened to me last year, and I ended up losing a mainsail over it. My mainsail got shredded in a storm because I couldn't get it down fast enough. Yep, temperature just dropped 5 degrees, I think. So that tells me we definitely have some weather patterns around. Okay, so I'm just gonna tighten this down. This kind of holds the tiller in one position, keeps it from moving around on its own. We're kind of pointed off in a good direction here. We're kind of veering into the wind just a tiny bit. I'm going to go below and lower the keel. If you accidentally put the keel or put the sails up before you lower the keel, especially in a powerful wind, the boat has no ballast to keep it from swinging over when the wind hits the sails, and it's a good way to flip a boat over, sink it possibly. I don't think we'll sink today. In fact, I'm sure we won't. So it's 33 cranks to lower this keel. Keel's about, I think, 1,700 pounds. Solid cast iron. And when the winch goes slack, it's got a clutch brake on it. So when it goes slack, I know the weight is off of it. And there she goes, slack. All right. Back topside to think about raising sails. Okay. All right. I am going to change batteries and move the GoPro over to here. So I'll be back. Okay, we're back. GoPro is going. We're dead into the wind. I'm going to run the speed just a little slower. brings the sail area to a lower center of force, or center of power on the boat. When the sail is not reefed, what ends up happening is the boat, or the wind, pushes on the top of the sail, giving it more leverage to turn the boat on its side. So we want to bring the top of the sail down, but we want to continue to maintain a decent amount of sail area so we can still sail. So that's what reefing does. We just tidy up our lines a little bit. I'll worry about this one later. I'm going to raise the jib first. Got to get the boat pointed back into the wind. It got blown off the wind. It's walking sideways now. Actually, first things first, I need to go and hook up my main halyard. I don't have a halyard on my mainsail. You see it's over here. I just noticed that. Good thing I noticed. of the boat is about 6 knots. You can hear the Air Force jets going overhead. Okay, we're doing a little over 5 now. And that's sailing. That's it. We're running. You can hear things crashing around inside the cockpit because we're going over about 30 degrees. That's why I reefed the main. We'd be at 40 degrees if I had to pull the main. Loosen things up so I'm in command of the boat. Now I don't like the shape of my mainsail. It's a little baggy in the front, which means that I pulled my reef a little too tight in the front when I reefed the main. I may leave it because I don't think it's causing a problem. It just doesn't look pretty and it's not as efficient as I could be. But what I am going to do, because we've got a pretty good wind, this little set of block and tackle up underneath the boom here, going from the boom to the mast, it's called a boom bang. When you're under heavier wind conditions, you want to pull that boom bang a little tighter so that your sail flattens out a little more and it kind of keeps the power under control. So I'm going to reach forward and grab that boom bang here in a second and give it a good yank so it's nice and tight. Yeah, that's about as good as I can do from here. And again, being that I'm a new kind of new to this years, I don't completely have all the sail trim stuff figured out yet. I do what I have read, see how it works. If it works out for me, I try to note the changes that it makes, note the impact that different adjustments have on the boat and how it handles and everything. And when I'm comfortable and I know the boat's running the way I want it to, then I know I've done something right. Okay, next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to wait until we're going to get ready to turn the boat 180 degrees now. It's called tacking. Once I tack the boat around and we're going the other direction, we jump on the other side of the cockpit. We want to be on the high side and not higher winds like this. So I'll jump on the other side of the cockpit because that will be the windward side at that point. That's going to be the side that's going to be higher. So I'll jump over there to help keep the boat balanced, and I'm going to fix some of my lines over there, tidy some things up. So you notice me looking up from time to time. I have a wind direction indicator up top of the mast. It's called a Windex. I got to keep an eye on my Windex and make sure that I'm sailing in the correct direction relative to the wind direction. 6 knots right now. And I just reduced a little bit of sail power, and it put us back to 5.5. I'm trying to get downwind a little bit so that I can sail back upwind. It's more fun sailing upwind, so we're getting about as far upwind as I want to be right now. So if I can gain some downwind position, and of course that requires slight changes in sail position. The boat doesn't heel as bad when it's sailing downwind, and things calm down a little bit, so it's not as exciting. Okay, I want to hear some music. Try and let off a little bit of that reef. I'm just going to give it a tiny bit of slack so I can pull some more tension into the front, into the luff of the sail. We got white caps, so we're definitely at 12 miles an hour now. Boat feels good, 5.7 knots. Currently between 10 and 15 degrees of heel, but we're downwind. We go upwind, that'll increase significantly. So will our speed. We'll probably hit 6.5. Part of the reason I probably couldn't crank my sail up even after I took some tension off of the reef is because we've got so much wind pressure on the sail right now. The sail slugs are probably friction tightened into the mast trap, and so I can't even get enough tension on it with the winch, and I don't want to break anything, so I don't want to go too hard. I'll do one more tack downwind, and then I'll start doing some upwind sailing and see how the boat goes upwind in the 12 miles an hour with a reef main and a 110. She's only doing 5 knots now downwind, so. Now if I want to tidy things up in the cockpit, I can, if I want to. Just take all of this halyard and toss it straight inside the cabin, because I don't need it out here in the cockpit. When I lower my sails, it'll feed more neatly from lower down, feed through through the rope clutches more neatly than it will if I got it all piled up here. If I pile it up here, it'll pull knots in and I'll have to unstick things, and I don't like doing that. When I want to drop sails, I want them to come down quick. So you'll notice I've set up my jib sheet coming across the cockpit. Reason for that is called cross sheeting. It just gives me more control of the sheet from the side of the boat that I'm on. If we had a little less wind today and I could stay on that side of the boat, I may not cross sheet. But generally when I'm by myself, I cross sheet. It gives me better control of my jib sheets, and it's just easier to manage the boat that way. Probably sail till about 7 o'clock. That'll give me about an hour and a half, almost 2 hours of total sailing time. So I don't like to come out here for just like an hour on the water. Every once in a while I will if it's been a long time, but when the weather's beautiful like this, I like to get 2 or 3 hours, sometimes 4 hours in. This makes for a better day. You do all that work, you want to enjoy it, right? So as you can see, we've only been sailing since that last tack, maybe 7 or 8 minutes, possibly 10 minutes. But we're already coming to the opposite shore. It's a small lake. Okay, there's 2 sides to it. This is the smaller side. There's a bigger side over there, but it's not much bigger than this. Not going over there today. Just don't have enough time. It's a 25-30 minute boat ride to get over there. So, well, when you've only got a 6-knot boat. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and tack here again in a second, and then we'll, like I said, we'll do another downwind run, and then I'll tack again and we'll go upwind, and it'll get a little more exciting. If you want to fast forward to the exciting part now, you can do that. Okay, we picked up a little speed as we swept through that tack because I pulled the sail in and we went head into wind for a few minutes, and you tend to pick up speed anything between what they call a close reach, where you're pointed almost into the wind, and beam reach, which is where the wind's at 90 degrees. That's your sweet spot for sailing, for speed and apparent wind. It gets really exciting. Things are blowing, water's coming over the bow of the boat. So. So when you're running in light wind, so I've got my sail pulled pretty flat because the wind is fairly powerful today. When you're running in really light wind, 5, 6, 7, 8 mile per hour wind, you want your sail to billow out a little more, because the deeper the belly of the sail, the more it powers up. But when you're in a really heavy wind, you want your sail as tight and as flat as you can, because if you have a deep belly in it, you'll overpower the boat. And again, that's where you start leaning over and it gets uncomfortable. I could probably pull the foot out. The foot is the bottom of the sail. My foot is kind of loose for this kind of weather, but I've already got it reefed and I'm not uncomfortable, so I'll leave the foot how it is. The foot tension is probably okay. We're still doing 4.8 knots. I'd like to see 7 today if we could. While things are calm, get my sheet set up for the next tack. Managing the lines in the cockpit is kind of important. You don't want to have a mess everywhere and be tripping over stuff. I don't have cushions in my cockpit, so I use my throwables as my cockpit cushions. And since I park under a tree, I have lots of sticks. Yeah, we're getting a really good downwind on this tack, so we're headed almost into the dam, which that's really downwind. We can't go any further downwind than that without going over the dam into the river. Go ahead and do a light turn upwind now before I have to tack, because I like that direction. It's going to give us a nice, well, one of the longest runs we can get on this side of the lake. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now, which means I'll have to tighten the sails, pull them in, because we'll be headed into the wind. I'll let them out to a point to kind of keep the boat, you know, leaning in the proper direction. Going beyond 15 degrees of heel is, the hull becomes inefficient in the water and you end up fighting the tiller. So it's best to let a little power out of the sail so the boat rights itself a bit and it keeps things on a more even keel. So that's what we'll do. I'm going to go ahead and turn into the wind a bit, bring the sails in, and we'll see what happens. We were at 4.1 knots when we started. tends to change across the lake. It gets a little bit more brisk on the other side. So in 5 or 6 minutes, we might hit some heavier wind. We might hit 6 knots. I don't see the 14-mile-an-hour wind we were supposed to have. It's supposed to hit us at around between 6 and 7, I think. So we've got about 45 minutes to an hour. up the river here, it's always kind of tricky because it's really sheltered in here from the cliffs on either side, so the wind changes significantly up here. I've never been able to sail upriver more than about 1.5 miles. And the wind is changing a bit now. It's kind of dying down, but I know there's some stronger wind over here on the starboard shore, on the windward shore. So we'll have to see what happens, but I may end up having to turn around and come out of here if wind conditions don't cooperate. But we'll give it a run. We've dropped down to 4.5 knots, by the way. Still about 12-mile-an-hour winds out here, 11 to 12 probably. I guess I should have left the main all the way up if we're never going to see that higher wind speed, but I was erring on the side of caution because of the weather forecast with the thunderstorms were originally supposed to be in here around 5 or 6, which is now. So weather forecasts being what they are, I decided to be cautious and go and reef early, as they say. I'm not disappointed. 4.5 to 6 knots is not terrible. I haven't quite touched 6 yet today, I don't think. Maybe once, I don't remember. But anyway, 4.5 knots is a fun speed. It's comfortable. It's not nerve-wracking white knuckle sailing, but it's fun. But yeah, we are losing a bit of wind up here. I may turn around and head back out to the main lake. I can see there's a bit better wind out there. Circle back in, and I see this dark cloud over here, and I'm hoping it does not decide to circle back in. If it does, it's going to come fast and we'll be in trouble. There was a rainstorm on my way here that I had to pass through. Stopped and got a haircut. The rain passed through while I was in getting my haircut, and I came out and the conditions were perfect. So I thought definitely made the right decision because I couldn't have got on the boat during that mess. But if it comes back, it's going to be exciting, and I don't like that kind of excitement. This is another thing about sailing out here versus sailing on a bigger body of water. In the mountains, or in the hills, foothills, or wherever we're at, you get these high cliffs that obscure the sky. You can't see what's out there 5 miles. So all of a sudden something will come over the top and you won't be ready for it. Ask me how I know. Yeah, we've lost too much speed. We're down about 4 knots. I'm going to go ahead and tack and get us back out to the main lake off this river. tiller tamer. It's just a little friction operated device that you can tighten down a screw and it makes the tiller harder to push under friction. If you tighten it down enough, it makes it so that the boat can't cause the rudder to come off of its course. It's only good for, I've gone down long enough to use the bathroom, and that's it. I won't, you know, I can't, it's not like I can go down there and go to sleep. It'll stay perfectly on course. If I go down and use the bathroom and I'm pointed this way, I might come back, you know, 2 or 3 minutes later and I'll be pointed 15, 20 degrees off. So it's enough to keep you on course a little bit, but you can't just walk away and leave it for any length of time. You know, it's just for really short trips. Bathroom break can be the very longest you can ever do it. Then you have to be super careful and set it up perfectly correct. tells me we are out of the heaviest wind we're going to see today.